I don't even know what to say. I mean, what is AEW supposed to be? When Cody Rhodes said that his vision for this company is to cater to the fans, to give the fans what they want. I mean, are you going to really cater to, like, the fans that are already watching WWE? Is the product not smarky and marky and high spotty enough in WWE? Where everyone's not already doing high flying moves, where, you know, that you've got one of the champions where he's super dangerous and he's even ended one of the greatest wrestlers of all time's careers. You know, is that enough? I'm talking about Seth Rollins, of course. Seth Rollins! No, that's not enough. So we've got to have a promotion now that digs even deeper. Now, I will say that AEW feels hipper. It feels cooler. But I need to ask the question, by how much? How much exactly are we supposed to, you know, say like, oh, this is a revolution, this is what I've been waiting for? Because that's what I'm hearing that from a lot of people. This is what I've been waiting for all these years. We're finally getting what we needed. And I am seeing a product that has the production values of WWE, and it has a cooler look to it and everything. I think they've done a much better job than, say, Raw has done in years with their set and their overall look. The production value is great. The pyro looks great. I've been saying this every week. The high point, once again, for this show, for me, was the commentary. JR and Tony Schiavone are on point. I mean, this right now, there's no way possible unless they put Mauro Ranallo on SmackDown or Raw that they could be anywhere close. Like, you've got Vic Joseph on Raw as your lead guy, and you've got JR in the lead position on AEW Dynamite. There's just no comparison there. There's no comparison. So with that said, you know, I'm sorry, but the commentary should just be the icing on the cake. During the Attitude Era, Jerry the King Lawler and JR at ringside calling the action was just, you know, just a plus, you know, just a benefit of you know, watching an Attitude Era Raw. But now it's become a highlight. That's a problem, because the commentary should not be the best part of the show. The best part of the show should be the performers. It should be the matches. It should be the promos, which this did not have. There were no promos on this show. I counted one vignette and I watched the whole thing. So, I mean, I did not watch highlights. I watched this from start to finish. I even watched those annoying little bits of the matches shown during the commercials, which I still hate. I think that is a moronic idea. There's no commentary. We're forced to watch it in this like weird, I don't know what that is. You know, you're watching this on a big screen, you know, in like 1080p or whatever it is, and you're forced to watch this little tiny like 640 by 360 little box. It's probably even smaller than that. I mean, I don't know the dimensions, but like, why would I want to watch that? Just give me the commercial. Like, am I so much dying to see every last minute of this product that I've got to watch it in the tiny little box? Let me watch the Downey commercial in full screen. I mean, honestly. So, let's go through this show. And before we start, I just have to say that like, if every single match on this show is going to be a spot fest, you've already killed it right from the start. See, back in the day, you know, let's talk about this here for a minute. Back in the day, you could at least say that, you know, high-flying action was fun and exciting because it was done sparingly through the show. When the Hardy Boys were on the card, think back to, like, WrestleMania 2000. Now, there was a hardcore match on that show, but when the Hardy Boys, Edge and Christian, and the Dudleys had their triangle ladder match, there wasn't any other ladders used on that show. They made sure the steer clear. There were no table spots other than in that match. Now, they used, like, the announcer's table, but you get my point. They made sure that almost every single match had something different on it. So they were going to do a spot fest, a much better, higher quality spot fest than anything seen on this card. And they made sure that no one else used a ladder, no one else did big crazy moves off the top rope, because they were going to save that for that match. So that match felt unique and special. Now when you've got everybody in every single match doing flippity-doo-dah dippity-days in every single match that appears on the card, it starts to feel a little bit, you know, a bit tiresome, you know, a bit monotonous, a bit too samey, wouldn't you say? I mean, really, it's repetitive. How many suicide dives, how many topes, how many moonsaults, big, you know, DDTs are we going to see in every single match? Every single one, basically. And you know, I thought maybe in the main event with Jericho that maybe it wouldn't be as spotty. But somehow it was. So anyway, I don't want to like have a big long intro here because we're already too long here. I've got to dive into the show already. I'm just basically, you know, I'm illustrating just how I feel about this show right from the offset. So we start off with SCU versus the Best Friends. So the Lucha Brothers come in, they attack Christopher Daniels, so Scorpio Sky gets swapped in. And now they're going up against the Best Friends. And this match, like, to start things off, like, you're going to start things off with basically how every single match is going to be on this show. It's a big spot fest. They're doing 1,000 different moves. They're moving 1,000 million miles an hour. And there is no way that you could appreciate anything that this match has to offer, because it's all going at a breakneck pace, and like they're kicking out of everything. There's big moves, you know. The Best Friends are hitting 1,000 different high flying moves, and like we're talking about like a 20-minute match here. This match was going on forever. And, you know, like, the first 5 minutes was, you know, Daniels getting attacked by the Lucha Brothers. But then they have this match. And then, you know what the thing is? Then you have all these different moves. And how does it end? You get a sloppy-looking dropkick powerbomb combination. And, you know, like, I could tell that they were so focused on doing this finish. Kaz gets him up for the power bomb, and he's like trying to drop him in a weird way because the timing has to be perfect. Just as he's putting him down on the mat, you know, Scorpio Sky comes with the drop kick, and the drop kick is like way too late, and he's like only got a piece of him, and the power bomb looks sloppy as hell. So like again, we get another horrific looking finish. You know, because it's like you've done all these moves, and then you get this wah 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 type of finish, and it like the match is already repetitive, monotonous. I mean, like honestly, like how many moves you're gonna be squeezing all these moves into one match? You know, and I remember when they used to be careful, and it used to be like back in the day, only certain guys could do certain moves because each wrestler was supposed to feel special. You know, like you couldn't have, you know, two different people like doing the same finisher, because that just feels like ridiculous. Like, you know, but now it's perfectly acceptable. Whatever you want to do, it's cool. Just pull out every single move. And the thing is, when they do this, they're setting a tone for the night. And when you have similar matches booked, where you know these other guys on the card are going to be spotty, you've got a match coming up later on with the Lucha Brothers in it, and Jurassic Express. You know, no regard at all for those guys later in the card who are going to be working the same style. They've got to pull out every single thing. They've got to get all their signature moves in there. Not just their signature moves, because how many signature moves can someone possibly have? Is it possible to have 20 signature moves? I mean, The Rock had a lot of signature moves, but he didn't have like 30 or 40, and then everything else. I mean, like, what about pay-per-views? When you're going to do this style and you're going to do 20-minute matches like this, every single match is going to be 20 minutes and they're going to be pulling out all the stops. How are pay-per-view matches going to feel special with this type of booking? I'm going to answer your question. They're not. They're going to feel like the same thing like they do on Dynamite. This is bad. This is really bad. Because, you know, I know that you guys don't want to hear WWE and AEW review, but I got to bring it up. What about a match like the TLC match? You didn't see anything like that on TV leading up to it come SummerSlam 2000. Why? Because they protected that kind of style. So when you finally ordered SummerSlam 2000, you wanted to order SummerSlam 2000 because you wanted to see that style, because that was a style that you know was going to be cool to watch, but you didn't get it on Raw and SmackDown. Why? Because you had to pay to get it. It felt special. You wanted it. WWE had you begging for those high-flying moves, those big high spots, those big table spots, those moves off the ladder. Now you can get it every single week. That's what I'm saying. It's like, oh, Brad, but, you know, at least you're getting it on free TV. You don't have to pay $40 anymore to see it. I know, but wrestling sucks, doesn't it? So there's, like, no defense for this. It's horrible. And the thing is, there used to be pacing during those TLC matches, pacing during the triangle ladder matches, and falls count anywhere matches. Now it's spot, 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 spot. Now everyone's doing big moves, 1,000 moves. No moves feel special. Guys doing the same moves. There were some beautiful looking moves in here, but like there's no selling. It's one move to the next. I feel like you remember how the early SmackDown games were, like 1 and 2, where, you know, you could hit like a big move, and then another wrestler would just get right back up. The opponent would just get right back up. That's how basically it is. How are these guys, they're making the pin, they're both getting up at the same time. I just like, duh, like, how do you have guys like DDP backstage? He's there during the Cody Rhodes vignette. DDP's back there. DDP, what a main eventer, what star power. This guy has worked some amazing matches. You know, you look back on some of the matches that DDP has had. You never had to once say, oh, and groan and say, oh my God, you know, the match went on too long. It wasn't believable. It looked so fake. Look, I've said in the past, wrestling is fake no matter how you slice it. But their job in the ring is to make it look as less fake as possible. That used to be, you know, the goal. Here it is, like, now it's just totally unbelievable. They're kicking out of every single move that they pull off. Near fall, near fall, near fall. So it's like, you already know, if it's not 20 minutes into the match is not going to end. It used to be like, you know, Paul Heyman used to say it when he was a commentator for WWE back in 2001. You know, it only takes 3 seconds. 3 seconds. You know, and he would say, you know, 1 second away from a victory. Now they're 1 second away every second, basically. Every single match. And I'm getting tired of it already. Every single match on the card is a high spot. It doesn't feel special, and it kills me. This is not working because they're all working the same style. There's no differential between any match or any superstar on the roster, because most of them anyway. So let's go on. So then we've got Santana and Ortiz, and they defeat 2 jobbers. Okay, so many people say they've established themselves. Okay, I'm gonna guess that these guys are not good at talking. That's probably why they didn't get any promo time. But, I'm sorry, but in this day and age, could we at least put them against a team? These jobber matches are not impressing anybody. Did anybody sit back and say, wow, I'm so impressed by the way they dominated those nobodies during the match? They're coming out. You already know they're going to win. They've done this 1,000 times in WWE. So how is it different? And I know what kills me is people, like I'm saying, I don't mean to toot my own horn, but this is a point that you really need to think about here. You're saying how great AEW is. You're saying how much different it is than the WWE product. I'm pointing this out to you. How is something like this good? So if you want to ignore me, you like the high spot style, I understand. Go for it. You like it, you enjoy it. You have every right to enjoy that style that you like. I'm just giving, this is my review. I'm not going to be like Dave Meltzer and say, I'm reviewing this for you guys. I mean, I'm reviewing it for your entertainment. Don't get me wrong. But I know that I'm counted on to give my goodness to honest opinion about the show. So this is how I feel. I'm not a big fan of jobber matches because I don't see why should I sit here watching this match if I already know who's going to win it. Doesn't make any sense. There's no point to even having this match. You already know that, Ortiz and Santana are hooked up with Jericho in the Inner Circle. Right? They're supposed to be a big main event faction. So, of course, they're going to win the match because you don't even know who the other guys are. They're just some random indie jobbers. Then we get a Cody Rhodes vignette. And I don't know, the way how this started off, it was odd. They show Brandy Rhodes and Cody Rhodes in the kitchen. And I don't know, Cody seemed very distant. And then that led into what it was supposed to be about, that he was very focused. I gotta say that I'm very impressed. I didn't know that Cody could lift so much. I mean, this guy was benching 4 plates. He was squatting with 5 plates. This guy's a machine. I mean, and he's got a good build, but man, this guy could put up some weight. He's a strong dude. He might not be the biggest guy, but I mean, there's a difference between physique and strength. Sometimes people can be look at Cesaro. That guy's not big and bulky, but he's a strong guy. I mean, we're talking about a guy who could pick up the Big Show in his arms with not much assistance. We saw it, so sometimes looks can be deceiving. I mean, Cody's got a good build. I'm not knocking him at all. The guy looks great. He's in great shape, but man, I mean, he put up some weight there. And we've got DDP. It was great to see DDP out there. I wish they would use this guy in another facet on the show. I don't know. Make him a backstage interview or something. I think something would be kind of cool. I don't know. Make him a manager. I'm just saying. DDP's a big star. If they got him there, I would love to see him in some capacity on the show. That's a lot of charisma right there. A lot of personality with DDP. So, okay, so we got DDP, we've got Cody Rhodes and everything. It was, I guess you could say it was a little interesting seeing into his life as he prepares. But Cody's not on the show. And I know they're going to say, okay, he's busy getting ready for his match. He's trying to get focused on full gear and all that. And so maybe he's taking a break. But, I mean, following that big brawl, shouldn't he be, dying to get his hands on Jericho? Or, what I mean? I'm just saying that not having him on this show is kind of lame. The week after the big hostile takeover, the Inner Circle's there, Cody's just going to sit at home and let everybody get beat up. And that's the other thing we could say, with Tito and Ortiz. Shouldn't they be running roughshod on this show? They should be, tearing stuff down. Should be NWO style. Or take it over, brother. But instead, they're just beating up jobbers. I'm sorry, but, if we're trying to... And I'm not, making fun of it. saying like, oh, like I see some people like, oh, anytime there's a faction, we can't just automatically compare it to the NWO. Because you have to like think, if you're going to start anything, you got to set your expectations high, or everything is going to be doomed to fail from the start. I'm not going to say that this is going to be a super successful faction, but like you have to think like, okay, this is going to be the next NWO. We're going to try our hardest. Well, they're not off to a very good start is all I'm saying, because they should have had all the cards on this table. Especially, this is the third show. They should be making sure that they are still giving it their all. But I just feel that, Tony Khan and Cody Rhodes, I just feel like they're just a bit too full of themselves. I'm still feeling that. Like, I think that they think that like, oh, this show is good. We don't need to pull out all the stops. We got our fans and everything like that. I am just saying that I don't think that they should be like so comfortable where they just think that, that they're just going to be something great. Because the thing is, their ratings dropped, and I didn't see the ratings for this show, but they might drop again. Because, despite what people think, just because you like AEW doesn't mean that they're going to get, like, it's not going to be all eyes on AEW. Let's remember, they're also the new kid on the block. They're at a disadvantage. Also, there's a lot of attention on WWE right now, with SmackDown being on Fox. So I think more people are going to be more quick to check that out. So, but like, they just think like, okay, we could just like sit back and relax and do this slow burn. They need to be pulling the trigger on more things. I'm not saying, don't tell a story. That's the problem. There wasn't enough storytelling on this show. It was all high spots. So let's get into it a little bit more. So Rio defeated Dr. Britt Baker. You're going to, like, I get it. I know she's got a degree. I think they said she's going to be, like, a dentist or something. Okay, but, like, if you're going to call her Dr. Britt Baker, why not, like, make her be a doctor or something? Play off on the character. Make it like she's smarter than everybody else. I don't know. Just come up with something. Instead of, like, once again, we have to respect these well-talented athletes. Like, they could set themselves apart and make these girls, like, wrestle, but still, come on, make them act a little bit sexy. Instead, we get a girl who, they said she started training since she was 9, Rio, the champion. We've talked a lot about her already, over the past 2 shows. You guys know how I feel about Rio. She's like a dollar store Asuka. Seriously, bargain bin Asuka over here. But, like, at least Asuka looks like a woman. This girl looks like a girl. Asuka looks like a woman. Rio looks like a little girl. I mean, seriously, she looks like she's 16 years old. I mean, like, honestly, I'm talking about, let's have, sexy women. Like, she makes me get the creeps here because I feel like I'm watching a little girl. Like, I mean, I just, whoa, hey, like, no. Sorry. But, like, I've got to say, both of these girls, they both suck. Holy cow. Holy cannoli. I don't know who's, like, calling the shots here. Cody, the Young Bucks, Tony Khan, I don't know. But I have to say, these girls are sloppy. There was a lot of botches. This looked bad. And Rio is, like, kicking out. Like, you've got this big, like, swinging fisherman's neck breaker. Looks like, that move Britt Baker hit pretty well. That's a move that, like, I really associate with Perry Saturn. And also Elias uses that move. And that's a match ender. That's a finishing maneuver. Somehow Rio's kicking out of that. Then she hits the Simonizer, which is that like angle slam thing. Once again, I identify that with Simon Dean Nova when he was doing that gimmick. That was his finisher. So, you know, you've got that move. And then she like rolls into it like, and like that stuff is like taken from Sasha Banks, like, you know, hitting like a slam and then immediately then going into like the submission maneuver. And, you know, it's basically a mandible claw. So, like, whatever, you know. So she's taking all these big moves, of course, you know. And like, Rio is obsessed with the stomp. There was, like, Finn Balor moves in this. Britt Baker hits a sling blade. Then, like, right after that, Rio hits a stomp. I'm like, what is this? A Finn Balor tribute match? I'm being serious. I'm not, like, you guys think this is funny? You might be laughing. Who's making fun of Finn Balor? Yeah, you damn right I am. Because, like, first of all, your number one priority should not be to emulate Finn Balor. This is a guy we're talking about who got demoted to NXT. And I don't care what anyone says he was. But, like, I mean, Rio is hitting these stomps and they look like Garbo. I don't care what anyone says. The double stomp is a move that should be banned. It's dumb, it's stupid, it's ugly. It didn't look good when Cesaro did it. It didn't look good when Del Rio did it. It didn't look good when, who was another person who did it? Eddie Edwards? Someone like that. I don't know. Someone did it. The Wolves in TNA. Stomp, stomp, stomp. Jumping around like a 3-year-old. This is a bad move. It looks dumb. It looks like it hurts the wrestler's ankles. It's just an ugly, unattractive looking move. And like, wrestlers are obsessed with stomping around. Like hitting flying stomps, standing stomps, stomp stomps, stompity stomp stomp stomps. There's so many stomps. This is the only move that she knows how to do. So, and she's kicking out of everything, you know. And the funny thing is, as she's coming to the ring, JR, Excalibur, and Tony Schiavone are like commenting like the belt is bigger than her. She's so small, she's so tiny. Like, exactly. And you're having her kick out all these moves, and right at the end, Britt hits the Simonizer. Let me get back to what I was saying. Hits that move, then goes into the Sasha Banks style move. Rio rolls her over, pins her. Pins her clean. After all that stuff, again, another roll-up finisher. Oh, gotcha. Like, another one of these things. Like, come on already with this nonsense. They keep doing this stupid finish with like, so many different high spots and everything. What was the match last week? I think I still have it written down here. Where, someone did that. Oh, yeah. What, Private Party and the Young Bucks. I remember. I don't even have it listed here. It was a victory roll. After all those moves. And then on the first show, you had Sammy Guevara. I can't believe I remember his name. And Cody Rhodes were going at it. Big moves off the top rope. Oh, small package. Like, okay, can we stop doing this finish? It sucks. It's bad. You've done 3 of the same finishes. 3 shows straight. Like, guys, no one's seeing this? I mean, like, honestly, I'm being serious here, guys. Like, you might be saying, like, oh, he's getting triggered. I'm just saying, I just can't believe this show is awesome. Like, I just can't see it. I'm sorry, I just can't see. This is not great. This is not good. The women's this makes me appreciate the WWE. I'm being serious. I'd rather watch Sasha Banks versus Charlotte on a desert island with that being the only thing to watch than watch another Rio Britt Baker match. I mean, holy cow. This is garbage. Sloppy. And bad. I mean, and stomp. I mean, like, oh my God. I felt like I'm getting such a headache talking about it and watching this match. And it's going on forever. This girl is 90 pounds and she's kicking out of big time moves. At one point, Tony Schiavone remarks, usually someone only kicks out with one arm. She's kicking out with 2 arms. This girl is like, she's not Wonder Woman. She's 90 pounds. She looks like a little girl. I'm not buying it. This is not a women's champion. She's beating this girl who outweighs her by like 200 pounds. I mean, really? And now we're going to move on to the Lucha Brothers defeating Jurassic Express. Now, I get it. This is so inconvenient, but I would have loved to see the Luchasaurus. I guarantee you I'd be doing a much different review had the Luchasaurus been involved in this match, because at least I could talk about his presence. It was still it would still probably be a high spot, but at least you could say that it's impressive that Luchasaurus is in there, doing these crazy big moves, and the guy's like 6'6", 6'7", But we can't talk about that because unfortunately he got injured, and instead we get Marco Stunt. And aptly named, because everything that this guy does is a stunt. And it's high spots. And this was exactly like the opening match. It was exactly like the opening match. No difference. Now, I think that the Lucha Brothers look cool. What's the other guy? Not Ray Phoenix. The other guy with the black mask. That was a cool looking mask. Can you imagine if those guys were unique? That they were the only guys on the card in AEW who worked that style? Because it used to be like that at one point. Remember Rey Mysterio, when he was the only masked luchador in WWE? When Rey Mysterio came out and he did a springboard hurricanrana, or he did some move off the top rope, you oohed and you awed because you didn't see anything like that, during the show. You didn't see anything like that on SmackDown or the pay-per-view, and you probably wouldn't see anything like that again anywhere else on the show when they used to do some careful protective booking, but they don't anymore. And remember when the Hardy Boys would be unique? And a lot of times it would be opponents, that would keep them grounded. You couldn't wait to see Jeff Hardy make a comeback against the Dudley Boys so he could hit the Whisper in the Wind or the Swanton Bomb off the top rope. Even when they would go against Edge and Christian, they were a bit more of a grounded team. They still did some high-flying moves, but, they still kept some psychology in the match. They kept the high spots to a minimum because you couldn't wait to get like one or two really big moves that would make you ooh and ah. But now you don't get one or two big moves, you get 120 big moves during the match. And so as a result, the Lucha Brothers don't feel special. There's no difference between them and Marco Stunt and Jungle Boy. I mean, I'd rather be watching Jungle Boy, which was a part of Johnny Bravo, if you could remember that. There's an obscure reference for you. So, I'm trying to think here to myself. Like, would this match really be that different with the Luchasaurus? Probably not, but at least Luchasaurus being in there would make it look a little bit different. And they're even commenting about all the kickouts. They're like, wow, for a guy the size of Marco Stunt, I can't believe he kicked out of that. Neither can I. I mean, wow. I mean, like, really? Like, this guy is going to do as many kickouts as... like, he's basically the male version of Rio. You just can't keep down Marco Stunt. Can't keep down Jungle Boy. These guys are like 5'4" and they weigh like 140 pounds, and they're kicking out of a whole bunch of different moves, just like in the first match, just like in the opener, and like Rio. I mean, at what point do we like sit here and be honest that this looks absolutely freaking ridiculous? I mean, how can you honestly watch this and say like, this is great entertainment, this is fun, because you've seen this match 1,000 times. You just saw this during the opener. Slightly different moves, slightly different variations on the flips, but still the same thing. Like I'm saying, if the Lucha Brothers were the only high-flying act on the show, they'd be awesome. But they're not. Thanks, AEW. You know, you could have really set it apart. You really could have been different than WWE and not be like them, where every single match has to contain some, you know, big crazy move in it or something like that. Now, I mean, they're going far beyond WWE. I mean, these guys are like really, they're killing themselves out there. I mean, these matches are way more dangerous. I mean, it ends with the pile driver. You know, and of course, not just a pile driver, but their finisher is a pile driver stomp combo. Gotta have another stomp in there. Can't go 2 seconds without having a double stomp. Gotta have a stomp. If you don't have a stomp, the match probably sucks, because it's gotta have a stomp in there. Best move ever. I mean, seriously, honestly, like, it's enough already. This is overkill. I'm not saying that I don't enjoy great athleticism. I'm not saying that I don't enjoy spot fests. But not when they're every single match on the damn card. Enough already. Some variety maybe? Can I have a promo? This is the only talking we get is Cody Rhodes brooding over his match. Then we get Kenny Omega and Adam Page, and they defeat Jon Moxley and Pac. So much for Pac being undefeated, like, you know, for like over a year, because he ends up eating the pin here. Congratulations, you know, no fanfare, no big build up to Pac losing. It's the third show and he already got pinned. No mention of it either on commentary. Surprising there, right? It's just, I don't know. I guess because there's so much ridiculousness. Maybe Shivani and JR are just exhausted because they have to, like, call 1,000 different big moves during the match. You know, it's enough to give anyone a migraine. I mean, you know, oh my God. Like, JR and Shivani must be sitting there and saying, what the hell is this? This is not what we used to watch back in the day. This is not anything like what they're used to calling. They're probably saying, look at all these botches. Look at these amateurs. They're not ready for TV. This is supposed to be the future. This is supposed to be the awesome alternative to WWE. I mean, honestly, that's what they got to be saying to themselves. There's no way that these guys are enjoying what they're seeing. Because, you know JR. If you don't know Shivani, you know JR, and you know that JR is an old school guy. There's no way he's enjoying this style. There's no way he's enjoying this type of... he can't even tell stories properly, because there are no stories to be told. So during this match, you know, we do the same thing. We've got... Kenny Omega pulls out the baseball bat wrapped in barbed wire, pulls out the broomstick wrapped in barbed wire. He hands it to Moxley, and as he goes to use it, you've got Pac says, you know, use your head. You know, you're gonna get yourself disqualified. So that made sense, right? That he wants to win the match, so that, you know, so that he gives him the middle finger and gives him the dirty deed. So, you know, it was nice to see some middle fingers, some attitude on the show, but, you know, I'm not going to be marking out over here over middle fingers, something that I see here every day in New York. So, you know what I mean? Like, you got to do a little bit more than middle fingers. So, like, you would think, like, and so he's good and he's done with this. He's not going to get it on with Omega, because guess what? After Pac eats the pin, that's the end of the match. That's the end of the segment. Closed segment. Hey Moxley, are you coming back to fight Omega? You remember the guy that you hate him so much? You drove him through the table on the debut episode. You remember that? No, of course not, because there's no consistency on the show. He leaves the bat behind. It's his perfect opportunity. Omega's distracted with the win. He walked out, come in from behind and blindside him with the bat. But no, of course not, because we gotta be just like WWE and not properly tell a story and just have it make no sense from one show to the other. No sense being made at all. I'm like, okay, this match so far it was the best match on the show. But there's still more, like, ridiculousness. Like, okay, I know Ambrose does the Nigel McGuinness. He doesn't do it as good as Nigel McGuinness, you know, leaning back in the ropes, the slingshot lariat. But then he's, like, in the corner, and he does this, like, little, rolling backflip. You know, I guess you could call it, like, a backward somersault. So he does that, and then he, like, gets up, and then he does a close, and it looks so sloppy and slow. It's like, leave that to, like, the high flyers doing that stuff. What did that little, like, roll do? You know what I'm saying? Like, they never used to do stuff like that back in the day. And it only gets more ridiculous as time goes on. Like they're so obsessed with doing flashy stuff with the moves. You know, and then also, before the match, Dean Ambrose, John Mox, I'm so sorry, I gotta get out of the habit of calling him Ambrose. That's not his name anymore. You know what I mean? Not being spiteful, making an honest mistake. But, like, let's be perfectly honest here. That promo was boring. Oh, and I said there was no promos on this show, right? That was the only promo, but it was like a really brief promo, and it was just like it was a pre-tape, like really quick, forgettable type of promo. And it was a very forgettable promo. This promo right here, like, there was nothing in it. No emotion, no nothing. It was so simple. And, there was no good facial expressions or anything. I think they were trying to, make him look like a tough guy sitting there in the bleachers. But it just came off as boring. And just, like, devoid of any energy. It looked like, like Moxley just woke up from a nap. Oh, yeah? It's time to film the promo? Yeah, it's time to film the promo. How about a little something there? A little bit of character. He's supposed to be this crazy, unchained guy, right? Oh, WWE's holding you back. They're not allowing you to be who you want to be. AEW is going to let you do that, okay? Like, if anything, the promo was just as good, if not worse, than anything he ever cut in WWE. I mean, like I'm saying, like, honestly, how are we defending any of this? Then in the main event, it is Chris Jericho defeating Darby Allin with the assistance of of Jack Hager. So, can I ask a question here? Does Chris Jericho honestly need the assistance of Jack Hager to beat a man that has his hands duct taped behind his back, who's been hit with a code breaker, who's been put in the walls of Jericho multiple times, who's been slammed in the back with a steel chair multiple times, who's been power bombed onto a skateboard? Yes, I said that. I mean, like, again. I mean, honestly, what is going on here? Like, what is this? 1,000 different kickouts. You can't even keep a guy down. He's moonsaulting, somersault, senton, topes out the other with his hands duct taped behind his back. Okay, I get it. He's the underdog. They're putting him at even more of a disadvantage. Go, Darby, go. Go, uncharismatic guy with face paint who doesn't deserve to be in a world title picture. I mean, and Jericho, who's supposed to have a big pay-per-view match with Cody Rhodes, and they want people to pay money for full gear, and they're having him get beat down. Chris Jericho, the first ever undisputed champion, big former WWE star that was done dirty by WWE, but now he's in AEW, and now he can really shine. He's getting beat down on the third ever episode of Dynamite by Darby Allin. Like, are you serious? This little skinny nothing, good for nothing, goofy looking goofball. This is coming down to the ring on a skateboard? with like no promos, no character. It's just face paint and everything like that. And Jericho has to like get help from Jack Hager. Chris Jericho like outweighs this guy by like 60, 70 pounds. They're saying, you know, this guy's a legend, 29 years in the business. He's the AEW World Champion. And he's being taken to the limit. Going 50-50 with Darby Allin. He can't even beat a guy who he duct taped his hands behind his back. No Cody Rhodes at the end. You know, no exciting moment. That's it. That's all you get. What a joke. Like, honestly, what was this show? This was horrific. This was bad. You have an amazing, charismatic champion. Use him. Why is he not cutting a promo tonight? This is the guy who said he's making, you know, he got so much attention. A little bit of that bubbly. Remember, it became a meme. Jump on that meme. Take it for all it's worth. You've got Jericho as your world champion. This is AEW. You can save that disgraceful last run that Jericho had. You know, you've got goofballs praising the Festival of Friendship, saying it's the best thing ever, when it was total garbo. You know, and you can save it all. You started doing it last week with a great promo. Jericho was putting everybody over that was in Inner Circle. It was working. You know, Jericho was burying WWE creative. It was some good stuff. Good stuff. And now, this week, it was bad stuff. Getting beat down by Darby Allin, bad. High spots, spot fest, things looking the same in every single match, bad. Rio and Britt Baker in a botch-filled, never-ending match that looked completely ridiculous, bad. Squash match that, you know, you could have seen the finish coming from a million miles away, bad. Jon Moxley cutting a boring, bland promo, bad. Very bad show. Horrible show. Waste of time. Really big waste of time. This was not entertaining. This was not good. There was nothing here. There's no stories to be told, and the stories that were told didn't even make any sense. You know, you took my bat away, Pac. I'm just gonna, you know, hurt you instead of Omega, the guy that I hate, the guy where I tried to end his life by putting him head first through a table, through a glass table. Guys, I don't know what this, you know, the rage is about AEW and why so many people think that these shows are so great. But to say they're overrated would be a gigantic understatement. Because they're pretty, you know, I gotta say, like, the past 2 weeks were not bad. They were average, they were decent, they were watchable. But this week, if this is any indication, and they don't correct the problems they had this week, then it's going to be a really bad run for them. And I don't think I'm going to be able to keep reviewing these shows. Because I felt even more annoyed. I felt even more annoyed during this show than I did during SmackDown. Because I expect that from WWE. There's no surprise there. But AEW, when people are praising them and saying that they're doing a good job, and that was probably one of the best for a first show, to not have any major hiccups, that was great. That was wonderful. But now we're past the debut episode. Now it's all eyes on them. You know, people are waiting for you to screw up. Why are you proving them right? You know what I'm saying? It's like you're proving me right. I want you to prove me wrong more than anything. Okay? So anyway, guys, I hope you all enjoyed the review. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Click the bell so you get all notifications when I post all my new videos. And guys, I'll see you next time.